All right. Good morning. It's Monday and you made it through another weekend and we are live and we're here to look after you this morning. Make sure that you get to wherever you're going, get your things done. I'm joined by somebody who he told me he was going to be in town and I was like, hell yes, let's grab him and get him here. I still don't know what he's in town for, but we'll find out in a minute. He is none other than Siv Ngesi. How are you, Siv?
You're the only person I ever work with who doesn't list my accolades and my job descriptions.
You want me to?
No, you don't have to. Multi-award-winning actor, comedian, TV presenter, producer, multiple business owner, and humble.
Okay, but you see that last word is just horse shit. I hate nothing more than those introductions they do for you when you're about to go on stage or they introduce you on a show because they're always way too long and full of flowery stuff that no one listens to anyway.
It's like foreplay.
They hear the first word, maybe. They go multi-award-winning actor, and then they're like...
No, I'm joking. Hey, brother.
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good to be here, man. Good to be here. Nice studio.
I also think, thank you. I also think that people know you well enough on this show for me to not have to do it long.
No, I'm kidding. I don't care what they know. They must just listen to me when I speak. Just listen.
So what were you doing here? You're a Cape Town guy. What are you doing in Joburg? You never come up here very much.
I'm here pretty often, actually, for work.
Except for booty calls. What are you here for?
No, I don't travel for booty calls. Who does that still? Come on, with Pornhub. Why are you still going for business? No, so here it is. The mission is, I realized that I cannot vote. I'm going to be overseas with Alex Stone speaking at a conference in New Orleans. So I missed the early vote and I missed the vote. I've been telling people to vote for so many years that I could not miss the vote. I never have missed the vote. You would look
like, that would have been so embarrassing.
Like an Afrikaans box. Pure doers. So I flew from Cape Town to Joburg.
Yeah.
Got a car, drove all the way to Lesotho to vote. And I put I made my mark. Turned right the fuck back because Lesotho, Lesotho, it's hectic there.
All right, so first things first. I mean, you've put in more effort than the average voter will. So now you have the moral high ground to be able to criticize people who don't want to vote.
I will always have the moral high ground.
Well, I don't know about that. But in this case, you've proven it. I mean, to drive all the way to Lesotho, that's like a 6 hour...
It took me about 5 hours.
Yo, and those roads are not great.
The roads are full of ANC art. Literally, ANC, you are magicians. How do you turn a nice road, into ANC art?
It was patchy. It looked almost like a giraffe or leopard skin.
It was as deep as my intellect.
Bad.
Literally was driving not on the left-hand side. I was driving where the road was left.
Oh my God.
And then as soon as I was on those roads, I literally was like, I'm so glad I did not vote for the ANC.
But that part of the country has been especially ignored and neglected, like
Ace.
the Northern Free State. Yeah,
Ace.
yeah, yeah.
It's all Ace.
Especially
He aced
bad.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, places like, what's that huge, big, like near Bethlehem, those kind of areas are just shitty.
But with the most Bible names.
Oh,
Bethlehem.
Man. Yeah. And it's just been left to rack and ruin. But anyway, I mean, now you have complete moral high ground to criticize all the rest of us, especially those people who didn't register, who are not going to vote. Because you know the numbers. I mean, I keep bringing this up because it just boggles my mind. But there are only 500,000 18 to 21-year-olds registered for
what?
civics.
500,000?
500,000.
18 to
21.
You cocky little bastards.
Only 500,000. You know how many 80 to 100-year-olds there are registered? 600,000.
Okay, repeat that again.
So really old people between 80 and 100 have registered in greater numbers than 18 to 21-year-olds.
Those are definitely ANC voters.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, it just blows my mind that, we keep saying, this is a young country, the future, we're building the future. We've got people who are driven and hungry and the hustlers and all that kind of thing. They're hungry, that's the truth.
Okay. So say it again so I can get it in my head.
So just over 500,000 young people between 18 and 21. So these are people who just got out of school, maybe considering to study, maybe going into the workforce. They've got their matric or they haven't, but between 18 and 21, only about 500,000 people.
Okay. Let me be devil's advocate. They could be some of the hungriest.
Yeah.
They could be some of the most educated who've just got out of school.
Could be.
They could be.
Although I think,
they could be the most failed of the dream that they were promised.
Maybe.
They could be the ones who are consuming the negativity of the country most.
I don't doubt that.
You know what I mean? Like, I could see how disgruntled they could be, but we grew up when we were pumped with information about how important voting was.
Right.
I don't see that content or as much as I said when we were younger.
So one of the things I've always admired about you is that you've been very outspoken about this and you've told people that this really matters. And I agree with you because I think also there's nothing more boring than talking to someone who has a whole lot to complain about, but they've never actually got off their ass and done something. Right. So I get annoyed about this stuff, but I also think to make excuses for people who they're too lazy to even register to vote. I mean, now there are 500,000 odd 18 to 21-year-olds. Who knows how many of those will vote?
Yeah.
Maybe half of those. So if we have, let's be generous. Let's say all 500,000 of those people go to the polls. They'll still have such a tiny, tiny proportion of a purchase on the future.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? That's like complaining when someone invests. They're earning the same money as you, and they invest half their salary into shares in a company, and that company does well. And then you didn't, and you sit there and you go, so unfair. It
reminds me, because I was always first team rugby. So there always be these nerds who do my projects for me. As we in groups with them. Then the project will be amazing. I only see it on Monday. Then I'll be like, great job, guys. Where do you want me to speak? So then you're saying 80 to 100, 600,000.
Yeah. Damn. More very, very old people than young people. Damn. So it's interesting. And then you were telling me about how somebody was trying to convince you that we should spoil our ballots, which I interviewed the IEC, two very senior guys at the IEC right in the beginning of the year. Very smart guys. They give me faith that the IEC really knows what they're doing. And I do overwhelmingly have the opinion, having spoken to a lot of these guys, that they are running the elections properly.
Okay,
we're going to get our results faster than the Americans. There's going to be a whole lot less.
So there are a lot less people voting now.
Well, there are less people, but there are more people registered than ever before. Okay, so that's a good sign. But these guys were saying to me, please don't spoil the ballots. It's just, they said it's a total waste of time. It doesn't help the incumbents. It doesn't help the opposition. It doesn't help the small parties. It doesn't help anybody. It's like a protest vote that no one gives a shit about.
But what if more people did it?
Well,
if more people did it, will they not leave more of a mark if more people did it?
If they tell us after the election that, let's say, a million or 2 million people spoiled their ballots, then that starts to show that people are like, there is a problem with our democracy, right? But it almost is already baked into the cake because of people who don't register.
Okay.
So, I mean, what is the difference between someone who doesn't register and someone who registers and then spoils their ballot? It's almost like a tantrum that no one cares about. It's like those people who like melt down on social media when something goes wrong in their lives.
I have such a bad example about this.
What?
If you have 10 women that you're with and one of them's on her period, you're like, I'll move to the next one.
Oh, God, the show's already entered misogyny territory. No way, shit.
Wait.
No.
It's 2024. It's 2024. Not only women bleed. Come on.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Now we upset the trans people.
Wait. I don't want to offend anyone.
First 12 minutes of the show, we already pissed everyone off.
That wasn't misogyny.
Oh, man. Listen, I have to ask you. Do you want to know about stupid? Did you watch any of the stuff that happened in Congress in America last week?
No, buddy.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Okay, so they had Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's like, I don't like the word because I think it's she's not a Karen. She's not a cracker, although both of those words would apply. She's like a combo Uber, like Karen cracker boss.
Wow.
Okay? She's this really, really performative, emotional, blonde.
Are you allowed to say women are emotional, Gareth?
Of course you can. It's true. And anyone who denies it has just never met a woman.
I said nothing. Siv Ngesi said nothing.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is like the right wing's version of, or let's say the Republican Party. Let's not even say the right wing. The Republican Party's version of like someone who's really just looking for the clout and the attention and the trending and all of that stuff. And she's a congresswoman, all right? So she's a big Donald Trump supporter, makes a huge amount of noise in Congress. And a lot of people like her because she performs to the crowd. She's like a circus monkey.
Yeah, you're going well, eh?
So she goes off in Congress the other day, and she is busy. They're in a parliamentary subcommittee hearing, trying to get the transcripts of Joe Biden's interview that he did when they were trying to figure out why he had classified documents. Remember all of that shit. Anyway, in that trial, the reason it's important, and this was an issue that I think would have been interesting to people, they said, no, he's unfit to stand trial because he's just an old, confused man. He's unfit to stand trial, but he's still okay to run the Oval Office. Yeah. So that was what they were trying to get to. But she derails the whole thing and makes it about her. Because in the middle of it, she turns to a black congresswoman who's got these big eyelashes. She says, I'm sorry, you must be reading that wrong. Your fake eyelashes got in the way. Then this black woman's like, she's Congresswoman, what is her surname? I cannot remember
Letitia.
now. No, like Quantaniqua. Anyway,
Wow.
she's like, you didn't. Oh, you did it, girl. And then they start going at each other. And I mean, then AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, claims in, and she's like, oh, baby girl, you didn't say that. And I suddenly looked at these three women, and I'm like, you know what, girls? You have just given us every reason to say that women should never have got the vote. Because of the way they... I'm sorry, it was unbelievably stupid. So like all three of these women, one black, one white, one Hispanic. It's almost like they asked for representation.
Okay, great.
And all of them behaved.
Were they terrible because they had vaginas, or were they terrible because they were terrible humans?
I mean, you watch all the men. All the men are sitting there going, what the hell are we going to do now? So I can have this conversation with you because you're not a complete lunatic. And I know that there are going to be some feminists who are going to get upset about this, but they're the kind of feminists who don't like me and don't like you anyway. So I want to know from ordinary women, when we used to call this like a bitch fight at school. When this breaks out between two girls, in this case, three girls.
Women.
These are girls. That by their behavior, I'm judging them as girls. If they were women, they would have sat there with dignity and controlled the situation and actually pulled those other women into line.
So question, if it was three men causing cack, would you have said men, or would you have said
boys?
These guys.
Boys.
Okay. I'm just saying, for me, it's a difficult one because for me, I would say those three women are incompetent and they're stupid in this scenario.
Yes.
I don't know if their womb or their hormones have anything to do with it.
Well, okay. In that scenario, they proved that we can insult their intelligence because their intelligence is not in evidence. I would say that in that situation, all three of them behaving like that while all the men were behaving themselves is not a good reflection of what women are. And I'm not saying that those three are representative of all women, but they are actually representatives in Congress. And as female representatives, they're not just standing there for themselves. You know, that's part of being a congresswoman, is that you're elected to represent other people. So in this case, you may be, and remember, these are the very people, all three of them, for various different reasons, are all three hugely obsessed with their identity. Like for Marjorie Taylor Greene, she thinks she's a very put upon white woman. Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez feels like she was just some poor bartender lady who made it good, and now she's in Congress and everyone's after her because she's Hispanic. And the other congresswoman is like big on the black identitarian.
I know none of these three women.
Doesn't matter. You don't need to.
Don't know who the hell
and
they
you're
are.
lucky you don't. But the reality is they're representing that. And they represent whoever they think they're representing exceedingly badly, and they don't see it. Like, I watched this and I thought, there was probably a time in American history, probably not that long ago, where if you and I disagreed, we could sit there and with clever, speech making, good use of language, and respect towards each other, we could resolve things in a way that the people who'd voted for us would think, man, we've elected some smart people here. And they're boring. They must be boring as well. It's not an entertainment. We're not watching WWE. You know, these three, I mean, it was like this close to them, like pulling each other's weaves out.
Are you allowed to say weaves?
I think we can. In this case, we can.
When white girls wear weaves, they call them, how do they call them? They call them
hair extensions.
Hair extensions. But Jack, you wearing a weave, you bloody nonsense.
Do you remember, I mean, in all those years ago when Patricia Lewis was like advertising them and she would do this with her hair and they were called, what were they called?
Extensions.
Flashpoints.
Yeah. But the blacks are like, Futak, you're wearing a weave. What do you mean?
So I watched this and I did think, like, hey, girls, don't make it so easy for a guy to say, we should never given them the vote. Because that's what it looked like.
Devil's advocate, Chums. Any person who says that already thought that before that.
Yes, no, definitely. Yeah. No, 100%.
It's like the DA commercial. It's like the it's like the DA commercial.
How do you feel about that?
I don't know what you feel about the DA commercial, but if the DA commercial resonated with you and you enjoyed it and you understood it, you were the target market, right? You're the target market, because me and you, we understand what they were trying to say, but if you don't see what's wrong with it, right, and you don't see why the majority feels offended by it, then
I really don't believe that anyone who is offended by that is genuinely offended. I think they were just performing.
Performing?
Yes, absolutely.
So every single person who said that is a problematic commercial
was looking for attention.
They were performing.
I'm telling you, I'll explain why.
Wait. Can you not see what's wrong with it?
Okay,
Can you not see what's wrong with it?
First of all, it wasn't even that great a commercial. I think it's low-hanging fruit. It's not saying anything people don't already know.
Agreed.
So very, very middle of the road advertising. I'm not impressed by it.
It's average.
The idea that you could see the flag burning, which is a symbol, which is a metaphor. If you can't interpret that as being a symbol and metaphor, you're either uneducated or you're getting angry because other people are getting angry and you don't want to be left out.
Okay. I understand that. And the internet does work like that, yes? But most of the population of the country is uneducated, Gareth Cliff.
Right.
Cool. And if you're a opposition party, you want to grow, right?
Yeah, of course.
Cool. And DA does need more people of color on their flipping voting for them, right? That's the only way they're going to grow, right?
Sure, of course. Yeah, that's how they grew a while ago and then didn't.
So you just did a big fuck you to a huge majority of the country.
No, where's the fuck you? That's what I don't understand. But you're not connecting. There's a causal link that you're missing here. Why is burning the flag, showing the flag burning, not burning the flag, but showing that the flag is burning, which means the country's falling apart, which everybody accepts.
But
why is showing that giving a fuck you to the majority of the country?
But Gareth, if you're trying to grow,
just answer that question. Why is that? Why is that symbolism a fuck you to the majority of the country? I don't see how that works.
Okay, Gareth, what does an upside down flag mean? Country in distress, right?
Yes.
Yes. Are we educated enough to know that?
Yeah.
Right? Now, if they had done that, just put an upside down flag. Now, a very small minority of the country would have gone, wow, it means country in distress.
I don't think even educated people would have noticed. Because most people don't know that the red's at the top and the blue's at the bottom.
Okay. So we're a minority again, right? So we're a minority
Sure,
again.
but
so most of the population would have missed that point.
But the digital burning of a flag, how's that a fuck you to the majority of the people in this country?
I don't know, it made me feel uneasy, man, and I'm not sensitive. You know I'm not sensitive.
Made me feel uncomfortable sounds a lot like those performative things that during George Floyd, during Me Too, all of those things makes me feel uncomfortable. Sounds like people who don't really know why they're arguing for something, but they want to be part of that argument.
Is it going to help them get votes?
You still haven't answered this for me, though. Is that your answer, that it just makes you feel uncomfortable?
But you've told me that the vast majority of people who are uneducated won't. So it's not going to help them.
How about, okay, so someone says in the comments, Grant says, it's a metaphor. Why weren't people offended by Faf du Plessis' underpants? Now, that is a good point, because I actually...
who's that?
I feel...
Grant Sosa.
No, so
very
listen,
nice.
So listen, I do think that someone wearing a Speedo with the South African flag, and my little nephew is so proud of his South African flag Speedo. It's his favorite thing. I think that's wrong. I wouldn't put a Speedo. I wouldn't put the flag.
I wore one yesterday when I was in Lesotho.
So you're not offended by the Speedo. I'm not offended by it, but I don't think it's respectful to put to cover your balls and cock and ass is less respectful to me than to show an image of a burning flag in a country that we know is not running properly.
Okay.
I'm really not understanding this.
We agree that we understand what they were trying to do, right? Did it work, brother?
I don't think it worked, but it didn't work because everybody always judges opposition in this country with this standard and the ANC with that standard. If the ANC managed to open a tap, and we've seen this happen in actual real situations, Cyril opens a tap and people are standing around clapping for him. The one tap, okay? One. And the opposition parties, from your friend Musi, who I've had very good conversations with in the lead up to this election.
I told you he's great.
I like him. I don't know if I'll vote for him.
Aye, man. Who are you voting for?
To the DA, to the IFP, to the Vryheidsfront Plus, to Bossa, to Action SA, all of them. They get judged by this standard. And of course, people were looking for any reason. Like the DA could have had an ad with John Steenhuisen going, vote for me. And someone would have said, that's a terrible ad.
What about, where's your matric? Bring on matric.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I just think the outrage, and I've seen you join in on this sometimes, and I know sometimes you're doing it just to cause shit, because I love that about you, right? Because I do that. I used to do it a lot more, but it's fun. Sometimes it's just fun. You just want to see what happens.
Okay. Cliff, all I'm saying.
Sometimes you want to wear that South African flag Speedo or set that flag on fire. Setting the flag on fire, by the way, is a protected form of speech in America. You can burn the American flag. You are legally allowed to. And it is considered the most, one of the most loud and ebullient forms of protest. So you're allowed to do that. And in this country, I don't see how that ad, unless you were one of those people who's paid to be outraged on Twitter.
I wish I was paid to outrage. I wish I was paid to outrage. Okay. Can we agree, right, that ad did not...
It didn't work
with the people who it was supposed to grow.
But I already said that at the beginning.
Yeah.
I think the ad was neither here nor there.
Okay. Agreed.
So I'm totally with you on that front.
Agreed. I wouldn't drive to Lesotho to vote for him.
No, but then I know who you did go and vote for, and I'm happy, dude. As long as people are voting, I don't even care if you want to vote ANC. There are lots of people who are hoping that the ANC can fix itself, right? And they're voting for the ANC in order to get them to fix themselves. That's not how it works. But for those people, that's why they're doing it.
Voting for ANC to hope they fix them is like me taking a shit and polishing it and hoping to turn into a diamond.
I'm so sad. I saw the president of Iran's helicopter went down.
Did he die or didn't he die? Because everything...
I'm so sad. Just give me a minute. I need to do some performative crying.
Guy. Yeah. What a guy.
Where? Okay, no, sorry. I'm not upset about that at all. So I saw that happen over the weekend. Have they found him?
No, because I haven't seen anyone say he's dead or alive. I just see people celebrating.
I don't know either.
I just hope Israel's not involved.
I'm not celebrating because I don't think anyone should die in a helicopter accident. It's a horrible way to go. But I do think, if you looked at how crappy the quality of their drones were, that took like 7 hours to get from Iran to Israel when they fired those off. Like, I wouldn't trust any of their technology.
I have no views on Iran, I must be honest.
I have tremendous love for Iranian history, for Persian history. I think that is a fascinating. I'm 4% Persian. I did that DNA test.
Isn't it crazy how when I think Iran, I don't think Persian?
But Persia was one of the greatest empires that ever existed.
What I can't even connect the two.
Oh my God. Okay, so we're talking about 400 BC. We're talking about Cyrus Kirosh the Great.
Oh, wow.
Who established his capital.
Sounds like a soccer coach.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, who's the one who resigned over the weekend? Did his last one? Jürgen Klopp, right?
Yeah.
His last weekend. Even I know that, and I know nothing about soccer. So Cyrus the Great was the guy who freed the Jews from Babylon, as predicted by Daniel. Remember on the wall, all that stuff? But Cyrus the Great was this incredible military mastermind. And he built these cities. He had his capital at a place called Pasargadae. I want to go there so badly, but it's not really like, there aren't like tour groups going to, Iran. Although with South Africa's passport, I suppose I could probably get in there. Hey?
Yeah, isn't it Iran isn't South Africa on Iran's pay thingy?
Who knows? But what I do know is he was buried in this little tomb. I mean, it must have been great once. It's like, I think it's 3 steps. And then there's this little house on top. It's literally just big enough to hold. It's probably about as big as this table. And it used to say on there, I am Cyrus the Great, King of Kings, Emperor of Persia, and then all his other titles. Do not begrudge me this small monument for my remains.
Wow. Sounds like something I would do.
Isn't that great? Now that's like, here's the title, the way I should have introduced you.
Yeah.
But at the bottom, I'm also very humble.
Yeah. Humble as hell.
It's lovely. It's beautiful. Anyway, so that happened in the news over the weekend. There's a lot of really weird shit going on at the moment. I see so much. I don't know if it's because I'm following the wrong people or whatever, but I see so much like nonsense.
Nonsense?
Yeah, just like nonsense. I mean, here we go with the story of this baby reindeer, which we handled last week. Did you watch any of that?
I watched it.
You did? Because I did, and I told everybody on the show I was upset that I'd watched it. We discussed it last Monday, and I didn't know what it was. It came up on the show, and I was like, what is this? Everybody's really excited about this baby reindeer thing. So then, Monday night, dude.
You watched the whole thing?
The whole, because I realized like I had to catch up.
That's
because
traumatic.
The next show we would have to talk about
That's traumatic that you watched the whole thing.
What a waste of time.
I have a view on this, which a lot of people are going to say I'm twisting and putting on his head. Let's recreate the whole thing. Make the guy in the bar a woman, and make the fat lady a man. Do you think that content would have worked the same? Think there'd be the same kind of debates? Think the conversations would have been like, no.
How do you think it would have gone?
What? How is this possible? What a lunatic! He's abusive. Put it in his head.
I see what you mean.
It would have been a totally different conversation.
Because when you said now swap the characters,
and now for me, it goes into a conversation that we never talk about, but I always feel that man pain is definitely underlooked in the world and looked past.
But that's part of being a man. Get over yourself.
It doesn't change the point I just made, Gareth. And if a female victim continuously goes back to to the person who was, we would have gone, it's thingy syndrome, what's it called?
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. It's the person who's wrong is the man. No, bro, I'm seeing people debating about what an idiot, what a problem. I'm like,
well, I found the difference in crazy between him and her is minimal. I mean, like, they're both insane.
Would you have said the same thing if it was the other way around? I'm going back to this.
Yeah, because I never got onto that Me Too movement train. I always thought that was nonsense.
I'm not talking about Me Too or not. I'm just saying, imagine an overweight man.
I think those
following a woman for 8-9 episodes.
You know what? We're going to talk to Dr. Hanan later. He's a psychologist. We'll hear what he has to say, because he's got some interesting insights into this. And I really am curious about your question. I haven't thought about it. So
if Gareth Cliff has not thought of it by this angle, then you know it's something juicy.
That's good.
Chums,
That's
I
good.
promise you, if it was swapped around, okay, even make the guy a black overweight man following a white woman for years, Chums, sending her and then touching her in her private parts against a bridge. And we'll be like, oh, they rode this crazy against the bridge wall. And then we would have gone, this woman's just as crazy as this man. Never, Gareth. Never. So now you said something earlier, Chums, which is problematic. Could be one of those problematic things you've said this morning.
Yeah, go on.
You're just a man, get over it. No.
Yes.
No, Gareth.
No one cares about men and their emotional problems. You just got to get on with it.
And then when
that's
hurt
part
people,
of being a man.
And then when you hurt people, that's the symptom of no one looking at your pain, Chief.
Where? You know what? I'm so like
problematic.
We do not have enough psychologists in the world to deal with everyone's bullshit. So some of us just have to get on with it. And I'm sorry, like I have no time for people who want to unpack all of their emotional baggage when I'm not the audience you're looking for. Because my friends know this. You, for example, I mean, I wouldn't say we're like close mates, but you know for sure, if you have a horrible breakup with someone, I'm not the guy to come in.
No, Gareth is not the guy.
Right. So,
we're not the guy.
And not because I don't care about you, because I do, but it's just I'm not going to be helpful in that situation. I'm not the psychologist. Dr. Hanan gets paid a lot of money to be very good at that stuff. I have this much interest in other people's emotional toil and turmoil and trouble. I'm
just hoping one day you might just invite me to your study.
Yeah.
That place looks like things have been done in that study.
Yes, many really good conversations
for me,
have been had.
If I had a study like that, there'd be no reading, just a lot of fucking. There's a lot of reading in that study. I bet you actually read there. I would not read. I would have all the books for decoration.
No, dude. So that's a funny thing. And like, I want to ask you about this because, you know, you are an educated guy and a lot of what you know.
Grade 12.
No, but so am I. The difference is that there are people who have 3 or 4 degrees, but they actually haven't taught themselves anything. They're not, and I know there's street smart and there's book smart, right? But you either curious and you want to learn things, and you are the kind of person who I assume just is constantly looking for information.
Yeah, always.
Right. So that I appreciate. And by the way, that is how I mark intelligence, not by how much you know, but how much you want to know. It's one of the reasons I've always liked what you have to say, because even when you're wrong, you're like, well, I've learned something, move on. Other people might not move on. They might want to keep on nailing you about stuff. But it's interesting to me how, like, people will say to me, oh, all those books, because books are a symbol of learning and all the rest. And I understand that for many people, like, you see it on TV. You saw it especially during COVID when people would like let you into their house, right? And then in order to look smart, they'd have like all these books behind them and shit.
Well, you have Google on your phone.
Yeah. That's right. And then I think, well, maybe I like having those books around me because they're books that I've actually read, which is true. And I mean, there's a set of encyclopedias on that old set that I used to use for like ENCA and everything else. When we started this show, we used it as well. That set of encyclopedias got me through school, man. It was around us the whole time. When I didn't have any other books, and really we didn't, that set, I would read them from cover to cover. Maybe I was just bored. Maybe because I was curious and just needed to know everything. That I read those things from cover to cover. Man, it was, I didn't know stuff. And then the next night I'd be reading something and I'd be like, okay, now I need to know about that. Then I need to know about it. And it's this chain reaction of stuff.
So growing up, we lived in a township called Langa. Not well off at all. But my mother made sure she got world books, the encyclopedias,
I remember those.
Kids and the adult ones.
Yes.
It was her pride and joy. It was her Google. And it was her thing. It went from house to house, still have them. It was her thing. But I remember as a kid looking up vagina, thinking, and they only showed me a picture. I'm like, damn it, man. I need to see. So like, but do you know whose mind I miss?
Who?
I miss Eusebius.
Do you?
No. Eusebius was a friend, a dear friend, who I could argue with. talk cuck with, have debates with. But to me, he could go, okay, I'm wrong on this one. I'm wrong. I had a personal relationship. It wasn't 702 relationship.
I didn't know him at all.
Yeah.
I really didn't.
I do miss that kind
and
of...
everything I did know about him, I absolutely did not like.
You guys are the very opposite kind of people. You definitely had similarities because people either loves you or hate you.
It was just so awful the way that he fell out of his coffin and all that shit at the funeral. It was like such a mess. You didn't hear about this?
No, don't tell me this.
Yes, they dropped it and he fell out. And, yeah. It was like a whole...
The number one worst thing you've said all episodes.
I haven't told you this because I want to upset you. It's true. It was in the news. No. And then there was a big fight about who was paying for the funeral. It was all just so undignified at the end.
What?
Horrible. Yeah.
Fell out of the...
Look it up. They dropped it. It was just a disaster. The whole thing was just a mess.
No.
Yes.
Not my friend Eusebius.
Very undignified.
Not my Twitter husband. That's what we called me. He called me Twitter husband.
Jesus.
Okay.
Oh well.
Okay, I'm gonna Google that. Ah, no.
Yeah, horrific. Yeah.
Oh, no,
I'm not making it up.
He would have hated that.
Yeah, it's so tacky. Ugh.
No, man.
I promise you.
Is that true?
Yes. Go look it up. Unreal.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple of things. I watched the most awesome yesterday. I love doing nothing on a Sunday. So I did manage to go to gym, which I'm very proud of myself on a Sunday for, because I don't feel like doing anything. You will hardly get to me to leave my house on a Sunday.
So maybe you should invite me for lunch on a Sunday.
I can't make lunch.
Can't cook.
Well, I can cook. I could invite you. We'd cook some meat, or I'd make something very simple. But I can't bake and shit. Can you do that?
Bake?
Can you do that?
One of my favorite. I did home economics high grade.
Really?
I nearly became a chef. And the chef said to me, "Don't do this. It
very 21st century man, you."
No, I'm a great cook. Great baker.
Really?
Terrible boyfriend, and I'll be a terrible husband, but a great father.
Well, I watched this series on ancient Egypt.
Oh, have you been? Oh,
no, I haven't.
I was there last year, Gareth.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Tell me.
Now, you talk about the way you talk about Persia, whatever. Mm-hmm. So, I'm doing a job with DHL, and I'm there. They fly me there, whatever, and I extend my trip by 10 days. Go with my best friend. It's her birthday, right? I take her along, whatever. I do the whole of Egypt. I start in Cairo. I do everything. See things that will blow your mind. Whatever. Go diving, clearest water I've ever seen in my life. Get to Cairo. Now I have to go see the pyramids. Now I'm in there with the CEO of DHL Africa, like the MD. We're in this car, whatever. And a guy who used to live in Egypt is in the car. He's the lawyer for DHL. He secretly records me, because he's seen the reaction people have when they see the pyramids. Literally, my eyes water. They fill up with water. And I'm like, what? Oh my, it is the most incomprehensible thing you've ever seen. You know, they've taught us at school what it is, how high. Naturals. No, you don't look at the pyramids here. You look at it here. It is the most, and the attention to detail. Like, I just came from Cambodia. Cambodia has things that were done thousands of years ago, but engravings that are like this deep. Like, could you imagine the precision? But the Egyptians were able to build humongous things that are just the detail, the size is just incomprehensible. Do yourself a favor. It's cheap. It's affordable. What an experience.
You know, we have a regular travel thing on the show, and Achi was on here, and he told us that Egypt, it's really good to go now. First of all, it is affordable, and he said there's some great packages available, and also it's like on our continent, but most people from the south haven't been to the north haven't been to the south.
But the north doesn't think they're African.
No, they don't.
They think they're Arabs.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I had a conversation the other day with JJ Cornish, because, you know, we always talk about like African
names.
So no, JJ Cornish is the guy he's like one of the best journalists when it comes to like being all over Africa. He's been at 18 elections as an observer in Africa. So he's seen like the good, the bad, and the ugly. And he was telling me that the two major divisions that occur east to west are French and English.
I thought it was sand.
No, Francophone and Anglophone are the big language divisions. That was the big problem at the AU. with like Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. She didn't speak any French. And she went to Vichy in France to learn some French.
Oh, is it?
So she can speak a bit now. The other division is North and South, and that's like Arab versus the rest of us. And it's incredible. Like this place is bigger and deeper and wider and more. There's a place called the Sud, which Sudan is named after. It is a swamp that is something like 12,000 kilometers squared of just swamp. It's like the biggest swamp in the world. And no one has ever been into the middle of that.
What?
No one. You can fly over it, but no one has actually been into the middle of it. It's just these islands of floating papyrus. Dude, there are so many places in this world that we just do not know anything about. How do we know what is or isn't down there? There could be stuff that would tell us everything that we need to know.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I'm the kind of guy who'll have a date with a woman. She'll come over to our house to watch Netflix. And I literally will, No. I literally will ask her to watch a documentary.
Oh, really?
Like,
is that how you warm them up?
No. Some people call it foreplay. But if you're listening to this, you've been to my apartment and we've watched some crazy content. We've either baked.
Oh my God!
Had debates.
It sounds like some kind of mutant version of who is that? Bridget Jones's Diary mixed with like a travel documentary.
I'm not saying there's no sex involved, but I'm saying your brain will definitely be tantalized.
Oh, that's so good. Hey, just quickly before we get to Dr. Hanan, we must talk about it just now. We don't have to go into it now, but we got to talk about Diddy. Oh my God. I almost called him Puff Daddy. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs. We got to talk about that because I know this is something that also gets you fired up.
I want to start off by saying I've worked with Cassie. I spent months with her.
Really?
Months with her.
So you have a personal interest in this.
I worked with her for about a month and a half doing Honey 3.
Shit
film.
I didn't know this though.
Yeah, I worked with her. She was in Cape Town. Seeing her, any woman who I didn't even know personally, being treated like that, incomprehensible, disgusting. I want to be in the room with the man. If you met Cassie, the sweetest, soft-spoken woman you will ever meet. I'm not even just saying that to be able to name grab. No, I worked with her for like a month and a half.
No, sure.
The sweetest person ever, right? But the signs, the symptoms have been there with P Diddy being this bad, right?
Yeah.
I'm upset with him. I dislike him. I never had a view on him. But let's talk about the system that's protected him, Gareth.
So let's save it because we got a lot to get into here, especially if you have a personal dog in the fight.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that's
like ridiculous.
I don't mean that as an insult.
Wow! But after the political thing, now you've got a dog in the fight.
It's a again, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor. You know, we're not calling anyone a dog, but yeah, I mean, if there is a dog in that story, we know who it is. We'll get to that just now. But listen to this quickly. Scientists believe they may have solved the mystery of how 31 pyramids, including the world-famous Giza complex, were built in Egypt more than 4,000 years ago. A research team from the University of North Carolina has discovered that the pyramids are likely to have been built along a long-lost ancient branch of the Nile River, which is now hidden under desert and farmland. For many years, archaeologists have thought the ancient Egyptians used a nearby waterway to transport materials. But they've now used radar, satellite imagery, historical maps, geophysical surveys, and sediment coring to recover evidence to map the river branch, which they believe was buried by a major drought and sandstorms thousands of years ago.
There's a great documentary on Netflix that speaks about what they think happened. And for me, it's one that makes the most sense.
Tell me.
It goes, with all that technology mentioned, it says that we had incredibly intelligent people who had unbelievable technology, and there was a big flood or something happened.
And we lost it.
And we had to rebuild. But only a few people, you know, if someone was on the top of flipping Everest or whatever, then they came down and, you know. But we lost a lot of technology. And that makes sense to me. I don't think aliens, no. I don't think all that nonsense, but I do think they had technology that was incredible. It's the same as if we got wiped out now. And then they have to start all over again. Yeah. They're not going to know what an iPhone is. So for me, that's what I thought happened. I think happened. And they talk about sediment. They talk about all the great places in the world you could actually see in this where something happened.
There was a big
there's something
An
happened.
event.
An event happened, and yeah, that makes sense for me.
Well, even Nikki says here in the comments that Netflix series Ancient Apocalypse
Yes!
was.
Nikki,
You watched that?
Come for a date, Nikki. Come for a date.
Nikki's interested in the same things you are.
Nikki, you can come on my couch. I mean, come sit. I mean, I can't say come. Just be on my couch. You watch some great documentaries. Have you watched Three Strangers?
No, what's that?
It's a documentary, something about three perfect strangers. A documentary of three identical twins who were separated at birth.
Yeah,
and it was an experiment. And then one day, one accidentally goes to the same university, and everyone's greeting him like they know him.
Good Lord.
Netflix.
Let's check out what. Let's talk to Dr. Hanan. He's on the line and he is ready. Hey, Doc, you there? Where's Dr. Hanan?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, there he is. How's it, Doc? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Brilliant, loud and clear. All right, so we've got Siv Ngesi here. We were starting to go down the road of talking about 10 or 20 different things, which always happens when he's in the studio. But I wanted to get you on because last week we were talking about this Baby Reindeer thing, and I went and did it as homework. I hated it, by the way. It was the most irritating documentary I've seen in a long time, or series that I've seen in a long time. Whether or not it's completely true is still disputed. But Siv already,
Piers Morgan.
Yeah, Siv already had some very interesting outtakes from that. What did you think? You've watched the series since then?
I have. I've seen all the episodes. I thought it was fascinating, but for me, it was fascinating not from the point of view of, she's the consensus. She's sick. She's ill. Mm-hmm. She's a narcissist. She is a stalker. She's mentally unwell. Not actually from that perspective. I was more interested about his perspective and why he was so addicted to drama and why he kept on coming back.
Yeah.
And why he kept on repeating the patterns that he did. So people are watching it through the lens of she's so ill, but actually they forget that he was a part of the dance and he was as ill as she was in order to keep the dance going.
All right. For me, here's a question. Do you think if roles are reversed and we had a gigantic 175 kilogram man walking into a bar with a small, thin, average-looking woman and spent years doing what she did to the other way around, do you think it would be received the same? And do you think you'd be interested and fascinated by the person's mental capabilities if it was a woman? Because the narrative would have been, oh my goodness, this is ridiculous. Look at this abuse. Stockholm syndrome. I just feel like the narrative would have been so different if it was a man doing that to a woman. And the power dynamics changes as well, obviously.
So society views, obviously, the action of a guy very different to action of a woman. Obviously, we perceive things through a biased lens. So no doubt about it, it would be perceived differently. But having said that, I'd still be fascinated. Listen, I see many men that are obsessed with women and the women keep on going back. How many women do you know in your world that are addicted to drama? How many women do you know in your world that are addicted to chaos? How many women in your world do you know that are addicted to guys that treat them unfairly, guys that abuse them, guys that take advantage of them? And they keep on going back, and intellectually, they sit in front of you and they go, the next guy that I'm going to be with is kind and loving and trustworthy and honest, but they keep on repeating the same pattern. Remember, nobody's outside of our own psychology, and the human brain doesn't go and create what they want. The human brain goes out and creates what it knows. And if your familiarity is chaos and drama and abuse, well, that's what you'll go out and recreate, because we like familiarity.
All right, but then the reason I got annoyed is because I thought this was this guy unpacking all of his mental health issues for way too long. I mean, there were like 2.5 episodes of the 7 episodes, which are just about him and his shitty comedy career. And by the way, it never deserved to take off. So I never understood why we had to watch that for 2.5 episodes. It felt like torture. And then for him to unpack this sad story about, he was abused and all of this stuff, almost to justify the fact that he now had this unhealthy relationship with the stalker. That's probably the background that most people don't want anyone to know when they say they have a stalker is that they also have to engage in a certain way in order to keep that stalking going. I mean, it takes two to tango, right, Doc? There isn't just one bad person and one good person in any of these situations.
So, Gareth, you're raising a really interesting point, because they did, in a couple of episodes, obviously show his history, and maybe it was designed to justify why he is as, let's call it, mentally unwell as he was.
Yeah.
And the truth is, everybody's got a story. The truth is, if they did a whole background history on Martha, you'd also find that you'd have grief and loss and perhaps abuse and perhaps uneasy moments and difficult and, disappointments and frustration. That's inevitable. I'm not a big fan of justifying your current action based on past experiences, because we all have a history. No. And at some point, you got to take responsibility for where you're at and not justify why you're behaving this way, but rather make the adult decision and do the right thing despite of your history. Can you hear me?
Just James, what are you doing with the sound there? I can't hear Hanan at all now. Point in having these things if I can't hear him.
He's going soft.
Okay, can't hear him. I'm just going to put him on here. All right, I can hear you now, Doc. Go for it.
So I was saying that I'm not a big fan of justifying past experiences or justifying current behavior on past experiences. So we're all going to be at some point adults and take responsibility for the decisions that we made and we're making, irrespective of what just happened to you.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. You probably do this with your clients then, because people like to use their past experiences to make excuses for the way they behave going forward, instead of changing the situation by behaving well from that moment on.
Spot on. That's exactly what people do, because it's a stalling tactic. So people want to talk about why I'm behaving this way, why I'm acting this way, why I'm feeling this way. What are the reasons? What are the historical moments that has led up as a domino effect that led me to this point? And I'm much more of a fan, and I think everybody should be a fan and take responsibility as an adult and not worry about the why, but worry about the what you are doing currently that either creates results or move you away from results. Don't, children like to stay stuck in their comfort zone. Adults make difficult decisions that serve the future version of themselves.
Okay, so Siv was very upset with me, saying that men's pain isn't acknowledged at the same level that women's pain is. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but that's about right.
But definitely, I think the world sees and views and treats man pain differently to how they treat woman pain.
And I said to him, yeah, but that's normal, and that's how it should be. I don't think that's unfair.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to compete for victim points with anybody. And frankly, it's up to men to shoulder the burden of the really, really tough physical and emotional and spiritual threats of the world. That's their point, is to protect. Yeah, but Siv got very upset with me. What do you say to that?
When shit gets real and men start doing cuck, then people are like, what happened? Then you're like, but you ignored us for all this time. Now when we shoot up a school, you are very shocked.
No, but I mean, there's a disconnect there, right?
So you know what? I veer on the side of taking responsibility. I think society is kind of spilt over into too soft of a lane, where you get these mental health warriors on social media going, I'm depressed and this is why, and society goes and congratulates them for acknowledging their feelings. And I'm anxious and this is why, and society goes, well done, you get X amount of views or X amount of thumbs up, and we're so proud of you for acknowledging why you're feeling and what you're feeling. And I think and I don't want to generalize, but for the majority of the time, or for a lot of the time, that is unhelpful, because to get stuck with what you're feeling as opposed to moving forward and creating results is unhelpful. So I can acknowledge for a minute and spend the rest of the time moving forward, as opposed to spend the rest of my life acknowledging why I'm feeling what I'm feeling and staying stuck. So I'm a big fan of moving forward, and it's not necessarily a bad thing to go, okay, this is what you're feeling. I understand. I empathize. I'm here to support not what you're feeling, but I'm here to support you moving forward. I think that's really helpful.
Doc, that's a very politically correct answer. You haven't mentioned man or woman in an entire rebuttal. I'm so sorry. I must call you out the doc. You said everything very politically correct. It was very on the. I could cut that up and share it on social media, and you'll get a couple of views. But you didn't reply to the comment that I made about how we view man pain and man suffering and man's mental health differently to how we view women's the same.
So I said it at the beginning of the show where society views men and women obviously through a different lens.
Oh, yes,
and we give men credit for certain things where we don't for women and vice versa. But what does it mean? We got to define it. And I'm a big stickler for definition. What does it mean men's suffering? What does it mean men's mental health? Something are worth discussing and worth harping and worth understanding, and something are worth not understanding. And you need to just move on from that. So it depends what we define as the suffering or as the mental ill health.
Yeah, that's a better answer. Thank you for I'll take that one. Thank you very much.
All right, Doc. Well, you've got a busy week ahead of you, and we are grateful for your time this morning.
Thanks
for joining us.
Thanks,
go ahead.
Doc, I want to ask you a question. So everyone talks about therapy these days. Go to therapy. And I always ask my friends who go to therapy, when do you know you need to go to therapy? And they always go, no, you shouldn't wait for that moment. Do you go to therapy?
No.
What do you think, Doc?
So therapy is necessary. Look, every person should ask themselves, what do I want? And 9 out of 10 people will not be able to answer it because it's a very difficult question to answer. So people give general answers. I want happiness. I want love. I want to be financially secure, which is not an answer. It's just a cop-out. That's what it is. So the first question is to ask yourself, what do I want? What do I want out of my career? What do I want out of my financial security? What do I want out of my family relationship, romantic relationship? What do I want out of my friendship? What do I want out of my health? And the moment you answer that, you know what your destination is. If you're struggling to get from where you're at to where you want to be, you seek the guidance and the calibration of somebody that can help you. Whether you're struggling financially, you seek the help of somebody that's financially better than you. If you're struggling in your relationship, you seek the help of someone that's better than you. If you need a career advice, you seek the advice of somebody that's better than you. And so the moment you're struggling to get from where you're at to where you want to be, therapy, call it guidance, call it support, call it advice, is definitely worth your while. Listen, nobody wins the award for doing it by themselves. At the end of your life, you get to 120 years old, you don't get the crown for well done. You didn't achieve the results, but you did it on your own. Nobody ever wins that prize. So if you seek advice to get you from point A to point B, you win the race.
I like it, Doc.
Very smart.
Thank you,
All
Doc.
right. Thank you, Dr. Hanan. Good to see you. This men's therapy group this morning is brought to you by Dr. Hanan in his spare time.
Do you know he says 120? I don't feel like getting to 120.
Yes.
You know why? As soon as I lose my erection, I can die.
Dude, I often think about like when you know you're old. And I reckon that's when you know.
Yo, all right, guys.
When you don't wake up in the morning and
the day when you're playing with a marshmallow for like 10 minutes and it's not standing.
Count me out as well.
The day I take that blue pill, I'm like, I won't vote blue and I won't take
terrible.
Blue.
That must be the worst.
You know, the other day,
he goes, with a lot of sadness.
You know, one of my very good friends, right? I won't mention his name. Says to me, "Awesome, you ever try this plant, right? There's like special medicinal things."
Uh-huh.
I take it. Yeah, men out there, what are you doing?
Why? What did it do?
My penis was standing like this. Even after I was finished. You ever seen a dog when it's finished having sex? Then it's still like this. Even after coming, Gareth. Even after I was finished. Yeah. And you know what? You can feel it tingling in your penis. I'm busy.
And this was just some herbal thing.
Just herbal. He was like, take this. And it was like 3 pills, like 400 Rand. And I was like, this is a waste of time.
This is not even over-the-counter stuff. This is like...
No, there's no prescription. You just go to a special place. I went there in Joburg. I went there with my friend.
Is it Muti?
No, whatever it is. All I'm telling you, Chief, I took this thing. Yeah. Sometimes it's take it as an emergency.
There are people listening now going, what is it? We need it now.
I don't know what it is, but what I tell you is that, so there's one day a lady's about to come over, and I was like, I don't have much time for it to hit in, you know? So I open the kettle, I pour it in. Yo, it hit me. Yo, I think it was stronger than an Iranian drone. Like, this guy. Guys, even when you finish, you can still put it in for more. Like, you're a 16-year-old peanuts.
Well, at least you know, like, when you do hit the skids one day, you'll know what to use.
So I've never spoken about this on a platform before.
Well, clearly now you have. Now you have. All right, so we will be back in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. And Siv Ngesi's here. You can send your questions into him if you've got something you really want to know. We've got to get into the P Diddy thing. We've got a whole lot of other stuff. James has got some sport for us. Plenty to talk about. Stick around.
Bye.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
But then you can see the inklings of Chery's design over there. The slim headlights, massive grille, and then just imposing stance, as we can see. And this is the hybrid version that's going to be coming to South. It's earmarked for here, along with the Tiggo 9. So this hybrid also, 1.5 litre turbocharged. And this one this is actually going to be one of the most powerful Chinese cars that's coming out at the moment. So we are looking at the likes of, I believe, 400 odd kilowatts and 900 Newton meters in an SUV like that.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
Comments, who's actually changed his name in the comments to Sanele, the fuck bus.
That's how I feel when I take that medicine.
He says Siv is out of order. From fuck buses to erectile herbs, Gareth, the real network might have just cursed the Gareth Cliff show. It's very sexual for a Monday. How do we end up in the gutter after Dr. Hanan? We're not in the gutter. You know what? Can I tell you something?
With your handle, you must.
Yeah, Sanele, you've got some cheek.
Some
Sanele.
cheek was a fuck bus.
Yeah. But the fact is, this is how our guys actually talk. And I don't think anybody minds it. I think also it gives women an insight into how animated we are about this shit. Okay, let's put it that
You mean you want me to tell you what the medication was? Actually, I found it. It's called...
It looks very Hong Kong to me.
What does Hong Kong mean?
It looks like it's made in some factory in like the middle of China. And
it's called
sent here.
Vigor capsule.
Vigor?
Vigor. Vigeur capsule. Trust me.
All
it
right.
works.
Well, Snayi says, I understood. This is still going on about me and Eusebius. You guys are going to get over it. He's dead. Move on. You got to move on. You people can't let go. I did want to talk about this Diddy thing because I do think it's like, I actually didn't know what the whole story was, right? I heard, what was it, about a month ago when there were all those stories about how Diddy's had to flee to some island and they after him and they found out that he was keeping women in like a harem. And there was all this really, really disturbing shit. And I started to like get into...
I thought you were going to say dig deep.
No, I started to think there's so much that we don't know about these very, very famous, very, very rich people. And with Diddy, it disturbed me because I really liked what he was doing in the 90s. I liked his music. I thought he was a perfect example of someone who had successfully launched a whole bunch of brands. Like, this guy's smart. And I remember walking past his building because he had a whole building. Yeah, in New York on 7th Avenue. Just kind of Broadway and 7th. It was a black building. It had like something, either Sean Combs or P Diddy or like Diddy or something or Sean John, or there was something on there that was like him. And I thought, wow, that's his building. It was pretty, you own a building in New York, then you got it made.
Yeah.
And now this story emerges. So for anyone who doesn't know, just like I didn't know about Baby Reindeer last week, a really awful video of inside a hotel, P Diddy and a friend of Siv's who I didn't even know.
I didn't say friend.
Well, you worked with her.
I worked colleague.
Okay, a colleague of Siv's. He was in a movie with her. And Diddy's just like, he comes down the passage and he smacks this woman and then he pulls her by her jacket. And I mean, it's like just the most ugly, abusive shit I've seen in a long time.
He did things
on video, all on video.
He did things that he would never do to me or you.
Of course he wouldn't do that to us because we would fight back.
Yes.
Right?
But how about the hotel? $50,000 to get rid of it.
So is that how much you paid them?
Yeah.
What else? What have I missed around the story? Because I gave a very bad summary.
They paid people to get rid of the whole thing, and the whole industry knew that Diddy was toxic.
Right.
50 Cent. Have you seen 50 Cent's Instagram?
No, I follow him. I follow him on Instagram and on.
I follow him,
X.
but why do we follow? Yeah. I'm actually interested by the things that he says.
And then he posted a thing. You see, the story just gets. He posted a Diddy apology yesterday and said, "Who the hell told him to do this? This is a very bad idea."
So for me, the system. I hate the system that keeps on letting people get away with this. But there is another thing I want to add. I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Take a moment.
But let us not take the money, the hush money, and then afterwards come out and complain again.
Yeah, that's like Stormy Daniels.
I don't know any names.
Stormy Daniels, who was people calling her a porn star, but like she was never really a star.
Wow.
She was like a third-rate porn star. She was in like the kind of on VHS. Right? Those were the days when she was a porn star, right? She slept with Donald Trump. He paid her money to shut up. She took the money and then she didn't shut up. This is what you're talking about. So the hotel that got paid the 50 grand to shut up. You don't take the money and then discover your morals later on.
Yeah. So I'm against that.
Yeah.
But the people, I know the comments are going to say, but the system is very difficult on victims, and I understand that. And a lot of the times, victims realize that they're not going to win. And I understand that side. That's another version of it. But for people who paid $50,000 to keep something hush and then you release it because now That I have a problem with.
Yeah.
But obviously, but for me, he's a dog. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And for me, I personally believe in violence, because if the world has violence, we need violence to combat violence. And for me, a lot of my friends, my friend Alex Stone, my wonderful friend in the
We've had
States.
Alex Stone on the show.
Yes,
before.
yes, the legend.
You,
the legend
you,
Alex
you and I
Stone.
had to carry his goddamned wheelchair up some stairs
Yes.
at our last building.
So
Love
and
Alex.
I had a crawling competition with him. I still have the video. I whooped his ass. And I said, I whooped your ass. So this is my friend with Silver Pawsey. And he said on the show that he could out crawl me. So I was
Yeah, I
like,
remember
this
that.
guy forgets that he's a cripple. And I'm going to show him that he's a cripple. I whooped his ass.
And you didn't even, normally, like when a dad and his 5-year-old kid are racing, the dad gives the kid a chance.
Never.
You weren't going to give him a chance, even though he can't walk.
Like when Ting Ting was in jail. Ting Ting is Oscar Pistorius. Ting Ting. I feel nothing for Ting Ting. Now, so we're talking about what
P Diddy.
Oh, no, sorry. No, how did we get into Alex?
I don't know. You
Okay.
brought up Alex.
Okay.
You said Alex told you something.
So my friend Alex is all about, he doesn't like violence. So I said, Alex, as long as the world has violence, violence is needed.
Yeah.
If I'm in a bar fight, the only person who can stop me in a bar fight is the person who's been in a bar fight. All right.
Yeah.
Now, if we lived in a world with no violence,
Right.
So
this is also where I agree, and I really love when you're on the show, man. We can unpack all of the shit that's like been simmering in the background that I've been thinking about that I haven't said anything about. Like, because I'm so sick of people talking about toxic masculinity, right? Like, there is such a thing as men who are just assholes and dogs and pigs and fuckheads, like you just said about P Diddy. And I think the only way to deal with those people is by a little bit of male masculine violence, because that's all they'll understand. You said it right. He would never try and do that with another guy, because that guy would fight him back and he'd get beaten up, because P Diddy's not a strong man. I don't think.
No. You've seen the way P Diddy dances. He looks like he's bad in bed as well.
So I do think that there will never be a time where we don't have violence, and therefore there will always be a call for some form of it. Now, we want to try and make it as minimal as possible. You want to meet force with equal force.
Yes, is it great?
Or at least just slightly more, because to go with excessive force is just ugly. That
Someone
looks
said
like abuse.
the P Diddy apology was like an apology from BP for an oil spill.
It's really bad. I wish we could play it here, but I only saw it this morning at like 5 a.m. on 50 Cent's feed. But it's so bad. And he's like, I'm trying to be a better man, and I've been to a lot of therapy, and I'm going to improve, and I'm really sorry. It's very bad. But then how would it ever be good? I don't care what happens to, I do think that there needs to be some kind of rehabilitation for people, because I don't think that there are bad and good people. I think that there are good people who lose their way, and I think there are bad people who can be improved. Otherwise, you got to give up on humanity.
Back to masculinity.
So we're going all over the place. So P Diddy, I don't know what to do with this.
Like I always say to my friends who call me and tell me that their spouses are cheating or their friends are cheating, whatever, I say, I don't do relationships. I'm not the person to really have an opinion, but I do believe anyone who wrongs needs to pay somehow. So if I was young, my mother used to hit me on the hand or take away a PlayStation, do something.
There's a punishment.
I never had a PlayStation, but wow, that sounded privileged for a second. But what I think everyone needs, something needs to be taken away, or there needs to be a punishment.
Well, I think he's going to pay the price now. I mean, after that, I don't think anyone will touch him with a barge pole. And I think whatever he's got is going to be diminished greatly by what we've seen now. And he'll deserve it. But what's interesting here is that you, and I didn't know this when we started this conversation, Cassie, and you've met her, and you say she's the sweetest woman in the world.
Sweetest, soft-spoken.
And
doesn't feel like a celebrity.
You just wonder, like, what kind of switch goes off in someone to make them unleash that kind of violence on a woman. Thank God, and I mean, this is something most guys won't say because they're nervous. I'm not nervous because I know I've never done it, but I've never hit a woman. I never will, and I say that with conviction. But Jesus, you think about like what it is that tips someone over to the point where they're willing to behave like that. And he knew he was in a hotel. He must have known there were cameras. Imagine the rage that was going on in that guy's head. How do you lose? How do you switch over into like rage and just behave like that? That's the part I don't get.
I can tell you don't start by hitting someone in a hotel. There's many things that have happened before to get to that point when you think you're unstoppable.
So you say it's like a build-up.
Yeah, there's definitely a build-up. But then I'm going to go back to what I said to you earlier. When a man hits a woman like that, it is a symptom of other things that have happened in his life that have brought him there. Yeah. And once again, remember, what do you say, Gareth Cliff? You're a man.
Dr.
Take it. Take it. And there's a great thing of what happens when you continue to take it for all those years, and then you end up on a camera beating up an incredible woman. And here's another thing that I find so crazy that people do online. People do this thing of going, she's someone's daughter. No, she's a human. She belongs to no one.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck if she's someone's daughter, someone's aunt,
I agree
someone's
with that.
child.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a
Why
person.
do you have to refer to it in context to another person?
Yes. So when a man gets killed, when something happens to a man, do you ever hear anyone say this? That was someone's son.
Yes, they do.
Who's ever said that?
They did that with Trayvon Martin, which is right.
Terrible example because he's fucking 16, Gareth.
Yeah, but
that's not the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
When someone's a kid, you can say that, but no one says to an adult, the Iranian president was someone's father.
But I gave you an example.
No, it's a terrible example because you were 16.
Hey, at least give me points for how quickly I gave you that example.
That's cuck.
By the way, on the Iranian president, and I mean this is news. The Financial Times has just reported that he is dead. Wow. So that is quite a thing in world politics. Now, I mean, because it's the president of Iran, this is not just like someone who gets shot in the street. This is going to develop into a much bigger story.
Let's hope no Israeli, not even an Israeli flag was anywhere near that. Let's hope no one who was Jewish was flying it. Let's hope anything had anything to do.
Well, I think we can fairly say that no one in the helicopter would have been Jewish.
What makes you think that?
Well, I don't think they would have got anywhere near. But the fact is that he is dead, according to the Financial Times. So there will be repercussions of this. I don't know what they'll be, but we'll see. There are international political repercussions.
Someone said they got stuck in a fog storm, and someone said the fog of war.
Yeah, well, exactly. Color says men who know they can be blixemed is the reason we don't run off our mouths in public. Removing that consequence will cause utter chaos. But that's exactly the problem with social media is people run their mouths off because there isn't a threat of violence or any consequence.
I've always said online, I've always said to someone, I've always gone, I bet you wouldn't say that to my face.
Yeah.
Like you cannot. When I don't know about you guys, but men have this subconscious thing when we walk into a room, we do size each other up.
Yeah.
We do size each other up. There's a masculine thing about it. Yeah. I can go into a room and go, okay, cool, that guy looks big. Looks like he can't move, but I know I can take him out.
So you size each other up in a number of ways. You size each other up in position in society, status.
Yeah.
That's very important because we're basically, we're just like the gorillas and chimps and bonobos. We have a society. We have a hierarchy.
He said gorilla. He said we. You didn't say I was a gorilla.
No, I'm saying me as well. Don't worry. Don't panic, everybody.
Don't panic.
Yeah. All the outrage mob.
Yeah.
But because we're primates, we will always try to find our place in the hierarchy. Yes. And men are hugely competitive for women.
Yeah.
So what we do is the reason the guy puts his Ferrari keys on the table, the reason the guy tries to be smart and make the best point about some international political, I'll tell you why it's important that the president of Iran is dead, or the guy who's the biggest, physically most menacing, strongest, most impressive specimen.
Ironically, those are the ones I want to hurt the most.
Well, it's interesting because I know, and a lot of rugby players, and a lot of these guys are not violent people at all. MMA fighters too. They're not violent people at all. They contain their violence. And then when they are required, normally when you pay them in an octagon to fight, then they unleash the violence, right? Those are tremendous levels of control. And society respects those people because they unleash their violence when it is required and not at random times. But you're a big guy. You're a well-built guy. You're a fine physical specimen. I know women who are like sliding off their chairs about you that you don't even know about. I'll introduce you later. And they say all these guys who are big, strong men, they say that when they go out, they attract a lot of negative male attention.
Agreed.
Guys who want to beat them up just because they are in shape.
So I'm gonna give you another additive to this. So my best friend always dates men, and she says she can see how the world treats darker men to lighter men when she walks into a room with a darker or lighter man.
Are we talking like yellow bone stuff here?
Yes, we're talking about lighter in complexion, darker in complexion. She can see the negativity that darker in complexion men get towards lighter in complexion. So she never dates big, muscular guys, but she can see how the room pulls in when a darker man walks in compared to a lighter man. I can see that immediately. Like, even for me, I'm not the darkest, but when I do walk into a room as a dark skinned man,
a guy from Senegal is
immediately it's like a weird kind of
look like a Tswana guy. You know,
so different immediately. It's another dynamic. But I can tell you, when I walk into a room, I do size men up. You look at the men who are good looking as well. You're like, okay, cool. If a woman had to pick, he'll pick him over me.
Correct.
And vice versa. And the subconsciousness of going, like sometimes I've gotten to the age now of thinking, when I'm with a woman, I go to myself, would she be a good mother to my kids? I know that seems like another extreme.
Okay, but I think about that. You're consciously doing that.
Yeah,
most men are subconsciously doing that. You don't even know you're doing it. But you look at the hips, you look at the breasts, and you look at the overall health, like her condition. I mean, this sounds terrible, but this is like our DNA, man.
I do it
Your
now.
Your DNA is working out like this is a good breeding partner.
I do it
seriously.
Now. So I do it subconsciously, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm conscious now.
Yeah. And women do this too. It's not just guys. Yeah. Women look at us and they go, that is the right physical specimen for me to breed with. That usually it manifests after you've subconsciously done this in an attraction. So you'll be like, why am I attracted to that person? It's because you want to breed with them.
And this is Joburg. In Joburg, they look at your wallet.
They do, and that's.
I have to say this. I haven't said this on a platform. Okay, I have to say.
You need to get this off.
I had a date with a woman in Joburg. Now, I'm quite antisocial. People don't realize that about me. I literally, I was shooting here for a while. Then one day I was off, and I was like, okay, cool. Let me go out. So cool. Then I went out to a date with a woman. I actually had 2 dates. 2 dates with a woman in one day.
Lining them up.
And then the woman came 20 minutes late, right? Arrived, went to the toilet for 10 minutes, right? Sad, conversation was decent. She left again for another 15 minutes to the toilet near the end of the date. And then I literally mentioned my bitch, I'm going, what the hell's happening?
Was this in a restaurant?
Restaurant, yeah. Okay. Old man, whatever.
Yeah.
I asked for the bill.
Yeah.
The bill comes. I ordered one drink, 28 Rand, which was a grape tizer. The bill was 1,400 Rand. She ordered 2 drinks.
What the hell was that? What did she order?
Hennessy XO and a Red Bull. The bill was 1,400 Rand. I've never seen her again.
Do you remember?
If you're listening to this, there's a reason why I never saw you again.
But Siv, that's
Joburg.
That's disgusting. I have to tell you, that's disgusting. There was a story in the news not so long ago about this table of girls who were at a club somewhere, and they were like sidling up to this table of guys who were flashing a bit of money. And these girls started racking up a bill, thinking these guys were going to pay. And these guys then gapped it. And these girls were left with like a 15,000 Rand bill or something. Yeah. And then they were complaining. They were like, "Oh no, but we thought the guys would pay for us." But this is a Joburg phenomenon, hey?
So the other day I was at a bar.
Bad. I have no sympathy for them. By the way,
I was at a bar the other day and I saw people I know.
Yeah.
And then a group of women arrived, and all the men asked for their bills. They're like, bill,
straight away,
bill,
really?
Bill. And then they started paying for their bills. Then the woman arrived. Then they were like.
Yo, so it's become a thing now, guys. Just see that, and it's a red flag, and they're like, "Get the bill, let's get out of here."
But let's be truthfully honest. Once again, we have taught people. There's a group of men that have taught women that this is how it's done.
Sure.
So for me, do not complain when it happens. But for me, there's a rebuttal of, "You want us to look good, you must pay." I'm like, no, I didn't beg you to look good. A woman asked me for an iPhone the other day. I said to her, my mother
straight up, just went.
iPhone 14 Pro Max Plus, 35,000 rand. I said, my mother died a year and a half ago, and she never used an iPhone. You ain't gonna use an iPhone because I came out of her vagina, and you think I'm just trying to get into your vagina?
Do you think it's all become so transactional?
It's transactional from both sides.
Oh, it's just very, very sad.
I think
you don't want to be in a relationship.
No, I do
Me
not.
neither.
Yeah.
So I think we're different to a lot of people. It's easier for us to look at this and laugh and remark on it. But if you're one of those guys who's like looking for a life partner, you're looking for a girl who you can marry and have kids with, and you want to settle down. And I have a lot of friends like that. But hang on, before we get to you, it must be really hard to find the quality match. How do you even begin? You can't use these apps and things, right?
I've been in the apps.
And?
It's a buffet.
Is it? But it's hookups. It's not relationships.
Yeah, I've made some great friends internationally as well, locally. I think we're quite conservative here. Very conservative.
But the money, man.
What I struggle with at the moment, Gareth, is
it's about the money with these
a lot of money. What I struggle with is I've noticed that a lot of women that I engage with are not used to men disagreeing, giving counter arguments, or calling them out.
Yeah.
Because I think vagina gets dangled, and then men are like, I can't argue. Let me just keep my mouth shut because I just want to eat the vagina.
Get dangled.
Yeah.
But get dangled.
Yes, but vice versa. I'm not saying it's the woman's problem. I'm saying it's vice versa.
Sure. Yeah.
But here it is.
It cheapens us all, though.
Yeah, all of us. We're all in kak.
We're all cheapened by it because, unfortunately, you might not participate in this stuff, but this is the wind that blows.
Yeah.
And you're either going to fly on it or you're going to fall by it, right?
But I want to be a father.
Sure.
My biggest calling in the world. I want to co-parent.
Have you met anyone that you wanted to make a child with?
I've met incredible women.
No, but that you wanted to make a child with. I know you've had, I know you've had meaningful and really serious relationships.
I
know you're not just hooking up. No, I think you have.
Relationship.
You have.
Connections. I had connections.
Okay, connections.
Yeah, relationship is a big word.
But have you met anyone that you thought, wow, I would be really proud to bring another human into the world this person?
I have.
Really?
I'm the problem. I'm the person slowing it down. I'm the problem.
Is she the same age as you?
Younger.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because obviously I'm 39 next day.
Yes, you're getting old, hey?
TikTok, ladies, TikTok.
I'm
joking.
I'm so glad you're also getting old.
So my calling is to be a father, man. I want to be.
I hear you.
I've thought about this.
I hear you.
I don't want to be a father of a son. Do you know why? I don't want to make a heightened version of me because of all the things I didn't have access to. I think a
horrible thing to say, though. You're immediately assuming you'd do a bad job.
No, I think my son
What's wrong
would
with
be.
you? I think you do a very. No,
I think I'll be a great father, Gareth. But I think he'll have the best equipment. I think he will not suffer. I think he will not struggle. I think you have the best rugby coaches, one-on-one. I think, and there's a part of me that, of all the failures I've had, that has helped me be who I am. Right. And I feel like if I have a son, I feel like I will overcompensate to be able to give back a section of that I didn't have.
Okay.
And I know if I do have a son, I'll make it work. I know I will, but it will be a conscious decision of me going, all right, cool. Okay. He can't have the best bat. He can't have the best
but that you've thought about it, it's already better than most guys would.
Agreed.
And there are, but you mustn't, the great thing, and I like complimenting you because you actually you take a compliment well, which I don't.
No, you do.
I'm not pretty good. You're like,
I fake it.
Thank you.
I've
seen you do it.
I fake it very well.
The fact that you thought about this and that you wouldn't spoil your son and you wouldn't turn him into some little soft marshmallow because you were, you didn't have everything you wanted when you were a kid. I think that's already 3/4 of the battle won.
Do you know? Thank you. Do you know the?
See, you just did it. He's good. He's very good at this.
But I can tell you how not having has affected me as an adult.
Tell me.
So Musi loves birthdays. If it's Musi's birthday and I say I'm
just explain to people, this is your very good friend Musi Mamani.
Yes,
right.
And if I'm not in the country during his birthday, I can feel him deflate. I can feel him go, oh okay, let's go, friend. Cool, it's fine, man.
He's genuinely disappointed that you can't be
I
there.
know that his birthday means the world to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the contrary, for me, I hate my birthday.
Why?
So both Musi and I didn't have.
Yeah.
So we never got what we wanted. So now he's trying to he's always loved his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I knew my mother was going to give me socks because she couldn't afford anything else.
Yeah.
And she would never give me anything I wanted. So now it still affects me now to this day. Right? I have all the money I need to buy everything I need. I have a PlayStation 5.
So what do you do? What do you do on your birthday? Just sit and mope?
No, it's not like that.
Oh.
I still do what I want. I hang out. I do my thing. You know what I mean?
All right.
I take the happy birthdays. But Musi, his birthday is everything. Like everything. He loves gifts. He loves it. Me, I'm the opposite from a similar experience. That our parents were poor. You know what I mean? We didn't have what we needed.
But is a birthday about the things you get?
No,
because I want to tie this to the women who'll rack up a 1,500 rand bill when you've only spent 30 rand.
Yeah, I'm
interested. No, but I think that a lot of us in this country, across the whole spectrum, age and race and money, are very into like material shows of things as being important. And I'm not going to be one of those people who says it isn't, because it is. It's like, it's nice to have nice things. You know, if you could wear clothes that make you feel comfortable, if you can go to sleep in a bed with, you know, a roof over your head that isn't leaking. I mean, all of those things are it speaks for itself why people would want it. But I do think that there's something about this country where we think that the material stuff will make us happy. And then a lot of people discover when they get the material stuff, like you have now, that's not what you were actually after.
And another thing
Right?
that's destroyed me is that I get free things in the mail every day, every single day. So like, I've never been a big person who likes like physical possessions and stuff, but every day from every single brand,
That's amazing.
I have a social media room, like
but isn't that nice?
Agreed.
It just doesn't fulfill you though.
Doesn't fulfill me.
Exactly.
I'd rather
Exactly.
get
That's what I'm getting at.
get a pair of heels. When I go to America, every time I go to America, I get 2 pairs of heels that I wear.
Are you still doing
doing pole, still doing drag.
Who's your drag?
Savannah.
Yeah, that's right.
And next week I'm in New Orleans. Do you know my biggest purchase? I've got this 6,000 rand pair of boxing boots, new ones, like gold, like incredible ones. And then I always buy 2 pairs of heels every time I'm there, and condoms. And these are things that I have.
Why do you need the condoms from America?
Because America has these, like, this is going to sound funny, but they have these Japanese-made condoms that feel like you are raw dogging it.
Honestly?
And
are they like super thin?
Super thin. Yeah, that's Japanese for super thin. And
so far, all you've advertised in this show are hard-on pills, and condoms.
And so my 3 biggest, my 3 biggest purchases when I go to America, it's always condoms, lollipops, especially lollipops that they have, and heels.
Okay.
So then the person who orders them for me, Alex, is always like, it doesn't look very good.
Do you remember
you've got lollipops and condoms?
Do you remember when you and I ran into each other in New York?
Yes, we sat down. We had
that was the coolest thing. I was walking in Upper West Side.
Yeah.
I bump into this motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, look at this.
I bump into South Africans all the time in New York.
Cool, man.
The other day I was walking, crossing the traffic light, and I looked at the ladies behind, and I saw the top of a South African ID book.
No way.
Literally the top. Just hello, I'm here. And I tapped on the shoulder going, hi, this is going to sound weird, but are you South African? She's like, how did you know? I was like, girl, I saw an ID sticking out your ass.
Listen, did you see all those South Africans voting in London?
Yes.
I found that very inspiring. I mean, these are people who, like, you went all the way to Lesotho to vote, but...
So it's so funny. I was involved.
So
the Vote Abroad, Vote something. It's a social media platform.
Yes.
Asked me to make a video.
Yeah.
Right. I made a video, and this year, I think last time they were on 21,000.
Yeah.
This year, 2019, they were on 21,000. I think 2019. Now they're on 71,000.
Unbelievable. More than double.
Yeah. Okay. Oh wow. Good.
But they're excited, huh?
No, it's incredible. It's,
And
guys,
people were partying in the street in Trafalgar Square. They were eating biltong,
Gav,
singing songs.
if the South Africa were to improve and get to the point that it needs to get to, and they really reached out to expats and go, come help us
They'd all
build.
come.
I think many will come.
Yeah.
Come help us build.
But they want to be part of something that is growing and building, not something that's deteriorating.
Yeah.
Like those roads you drove to Lesotho.
Gareth, if someone said in your neighborhood, and I know your answer, if someone said your neighborhood, Gareth, you're in charge of the grass cutting, right? Can you get involved? And this is your section, just a little piece. Would you get involved?
For sure.
Now, I used to go to Grahamstown.
Nobody needs to. So there's a woman actually in our neighborhood who has taken it upon herself to clean the entire street, all the way from the one point to the next crossing. It's a large piece of land. And all she did was she went on the neighborhood WhatsApp group and she said, does anyone have a lawnmower or black rubbish bags or whatever? People all came to the party.
Grahamstown.
It's amazing.
I owe so much to the Grahamstown Festival, even though it's died and it's terrible now. But
yeah.
And 1 year I was there and no one did the streets, no one did anything. And WhatsApp group started and the community started cleaning the streets, filling potholes. Like the water was still came out brown, no electricity, but they tried.
All right, let's turn our attention to some sport because this is what we do on a Monday morning. We get little updates on all the things that we missed out on over the weekend. And James is here. He's going to give us the latest. This is brought to you by Super Bets. Hello, James.
How's it, guys?
First, how are we doing with that Shambok and the Dominatrix? Because we're waiting. People are waiting.
Closer and closer.
You know that our highest rated video ever, Siv, is a video of Michael Flax, who was a producer at the time, being paddled by a dominatrix.
Oh, wow.
And now we've decided to try and find her again and bring her in because James is a terrible, incompetent producer. And we're going to give him a shambok in.
I'm just saying, I heard paddle and I just wanted to play paddle. I love fucking
You love paddle.
I
huh?
love paddle.
You love that.
I've played 227 games. I'm obsessed. So obsessed. I need to give him my black card.
All right. Well, we're not talking about paddle. So we're talking about Premier League, URC, IPL, boxing. What do you got for us?
A bunch of sports today. We're going to start with some breaking news, kind of. Maybe not really.
Go on.
Sundowns this weekend broke a record.
Okay.
A points record in their league. A record that they had set themselves a couple of years ago. So they've officially won the league as of this weekend. The previous points mark was 71 in 2015, 2016. This season, they did 75, and they've still got 2 games to go.
It shows you what money can do, Patrice. Go, Patrice. Money, 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 money,
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah, right.
Sticking with the football. Sure, what a weekend for Liverpool fans, for City fans, for Arsenal fans, for just fans.
Are you a fan of any of those, Siv?
Soccer's a cuck sport.
That's terrible
Sure.
news.
Okay.
That's tough. Okay, no, that's fair.
And you are, James.
That's fair also.
Who are you a fan of?
Liverpool.
Oh, no, I wasn't insulting you. I just wanted to know who you're a
I
fan
thought
of.
you were saying I was a cuck.
No.
Also.
That's you don't have to take that from me. Fight back.
With a shambok.
What happened?
City won the league this weekend. Liverpool didn't. Arsenal missed out on the league by this much.
That was a close one.
It's a bit tough for them. A record-breaking 4th Premier League title in a row for Manchester City.
Okay, so how did they lose by? Arsenal, how close were they?
So Arsenal had to win their game. City had to draw or lose. Arsenal won their game, but City also won their game. So it didn't.
So
really
that
matter.
always seems unfair to me.
Yeah, a little bit tough.
Cuck sport.
So yes, record-breaking 4 in a row for City, Premier League titles for them. That's amazing. Onto the world of rugby, big wins for the Bulls, Stormers, and the Lions in the URC. Ulster also did the SA teams a huge favor by defeating Leinster. And the top of the table is heating up with just 1 round left. Munster leads with 63 points, followed closely by the Bulls at 61 and Leinster at 60. In the world of boxing, also huge news.
Wow.
And I'm going to put it in Ben's words. A man has become the Thanos of boxing, Gareth.
How so?
Alexander Usyk defeated Tyson Fury, which basically meant Usyk collected all of the heavyweight belts, and now he has all of them.
That's amazing.
He's the Thanos of boxing currently.
I'm so happy. I love boxing, and I hated having a boxing world champion who's overweight. He had to go. He's,
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Ugh.
I don't know anything about this, but I
He's
the way you
overweight.
just put it out there.
Sorry, he's just overweight.
Yeah.
Great boxer, just overweight.
Not even the Deontay Wilder can get up from a knockdown situation.
No.
It still doesn't convince me.
No, and for me, heavyweight boxing has lost it's not what it used to be. Oh, like yeah. But yeah, he was overweight. He had love handles. You can't be a world champion with love handles.
No.
I'm not fat shaming, but I'm fat shaming.
Okay, fair enough. What else?
PGA Championship also happened this weekend. Some also semi-breaking news, not really. So ahead of the PGA this weekend, before Ben got onto the show on Friday, Scotty Scheffler was arrested.
I saw this. I don't know what it's about, but he was like on the course.
Yeah. So
You're not allowed to be on the course the night before?
It was, I didn't know that one, but
I don't know, something like that.
It was right before he was actually arriving at the event. So that morning itself, there was actually another incident where someone had died. I think there was an accident or something, but within that whole drama, he got arrested.
Jesus.
And he actually went through to prison. They put him there at the cell. He was released afterwards. And he even said it was the first time he's stretched in a jail cell ahead of a PGA championship. So there he was early in the morning doing his stretches.
I thought you said it's the first time he's been stretched in a jail.
Yeah, that's different. So there we go. Scotty Scheffler's now a blemished record, not unblemished.
That's tough for him.
Very good.
He could have made his whole weekend better by winning, but he didn't. Xander Schauffele did. He made history with that dramatic win. He finished a shot clear of Bryson DeChambeau with Victor Hovland 3 strokes back in third. Schauffele birdied the last to finish on 21 under, the lowest winning score in men's major history. So that's the PGA.
Mm-hmm.
There was one more thing.
IPL.
The IPL, the cricket. Before I do that last thing, the Indian Premier League concluded with a no result in the final game between KKR and Rajasthan Royals.
Okay.
There's a bunch of games happening this weekend. The KKR, they take on second place at 4 p.m. on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, the battle for the remaining spot in the finals, third place Rajasthan Royals clashes with Royal Challengers Bangalore at 4 p.m. And then the finals on Sunday.
I don't watch IPL, but I did see a great meme that says Mark Boucher without politics. Without South African politics, so race and sport, they listed all the things that he had in South Africa because he was complaining about it, and he still came last position in the IPL with his team.
Shame, that's terrible. Well, that disentangles that problem.
Sorry, Boucher.
That was the Beyond the Scoreboard weekend sports recap with Super Bets. And of course, they support responsible gambling. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline, 0800 006 008. Talking about Thanos, I saw Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck are getting divorced. That completes all the Infinity Stones in the Jennifer Lopez glove. She is now the world's most unlovable woman. I think she's been divorced 9 times. I think it's a record.
Let's see the stats.
I'm going to look this up because I need to be absolutely sure. I think so.
I don't believe
J-Lo
9
divorces. Yeah, let's just see. Let's just see quickly. But there's a lot.
But how long were each one of those marriages if it was 9 times already?
How many engagement rings does J-Lo have? 6. Okay. So she has 6 Infinity Stones.
That's Thanos.
Okay, so that's sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She's got all of them.
I think she's got all of them. She's the only woman who can save P Diddy.
Yes.
Hectic. Oh, speaking of, sorry, I did get that apology video. If you do want to.
Oh yeah. Let's just because have you seen it?
Yes, I have.
Ooh, it's bad. All right, let's let everybody see it.
It's
Can you play that for us?
to reflect on the darkest times in your life. But sometimes you got to do that. I was fucked up. I mean, I hit rock bottom. But I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
So why do I mean, like, I'm not looking for your forgiveness, but then why do this at all? Like, what's the point, right? It's so bad.
Celebrity apology videos always have terrible camera angles, no makeup, off their cell phones, trying to make them look as human as possible. And the uglier you look, the better. Like P Diddy looks
How
like
would you do an apology?
inbred tiger.
You'd do a beautiful one with like the right wardrobe. You'd look fantastic.
No, I'm a great apologizer.
Okay.
But it'll never look that stereotypical. No. And the videos always lack accountability because he sounds like he's accountable, but he knows that accountability is fashionable.
So how would you advise him? If you were his guy and you were like, he calls you up, like, man, I don't know what to do. What the hell am I going to do? What would you tell him? Because even 50 Cent said, this is not going to work. Who is advising him right now? Shaking my head, bad move.
You know something, guys? For me, first of all, I would donate $20 million now to different agency, female-led
NGOs or whatever.
NGOs, yeah. Right? First of all, then go get help so you can be accountable to the help that you're getting. He needs to get help. And B, he needs to turn himself in if he's done anything that's criminal.
Right.
Turn himself in. He's got to.
So then, yeah, you really face the music. You're not trying to squeeze your way out.
Yes. And I think in the long run, I think he'll be better off. I think short term, if he still stays out of jail and does nothing, I think, but if he goes into jail, there'll be people like, have you seen the Kevin Spacey documentary?
Yeah. By the way, listen, the guy is, he deserves a second look. I haven't watched the documentary, but people are telling me that he was completely pilloried for no good reason.
What are you sure?
Well, that's what people are telling me.
So he was found non-guilty, right?
Yeah.
But then this thing has people who are not part of the court case.
Oh, right. So there's other evidence that makes it worse.
Let me tell you.
Because I saw an interview being promoted. Again, I haven't seen this.
There's two documentaries.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, well, thank you. You're helping to rehabilitate me. And I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe everybody went overboard on Kevin Spacey. But you're saying it's worse.
Kevin Spacey shot here. There are
in
people
South Africa,
shot here. There are people who worked with him. The go-to on the set was stay away from him.
Wow.
On set in South Africa. He was shooting in South Africa, right? Actor friends. Stay away from him. Then you have masculine, like puff men who are like, bruh, this guy found me up. People who are on the shows who are like crazy stories about him.
Jesus.
That guy's not innocent. Oh, Kevin.
Okay.
When they're that talented as well, you must know.
Yeah. Well, there we go. P Diddy's in that basket now with the rest of them. But let's get back to Jennifer Lopez, if you don't mind, because I think 6 engagement rings is a hell of an achievement. Let's stop and give the woman some credit.
Definitely.
As if you're going to collect engagement rings, I think that's quite something.
My love don't cost a thing.
Please.
It reminds me of Mandela spending 27 years in jail, getting out of jail, and only lasting with Winnie Mandela for a few months.
Now you're asking for trouble. So how many engagement rings does she have? 6, and then they list them. All of Jennifer's engagement rings. Here we go. They've got an article on Grazia. So she's got one from Ojani Noah. I don't remember him. Then she's got Chris Judd. Don't remember him. Then she's got Ben Affleck the first time. Right. Then she's got Mark Antony. Then she's got Alex Rodriguez, A-Rod. Then she's got Ben Affleck the second time, and now that's finished as well. So,
so the analogy with Nelson Mandela just
clean that up a little. I think you need to clear that up and make sure that people understand.
Let me clear it up again. So Jennifer Lopez is one of the hottest women in the world, right? Even they couldn't make it work with her. Now, if Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in jail, alone with no wife, nothing. Comes out of jail, spends a little time with Winnie and goes, I can't do this. That's my link. As I said it, I was like, what is my link? And then I had to connect.
Oh boy, you better not drive down Winnie Mandela Drive today.
But isn't that a good link?
No, I love it. I love it, dude. It's listen, What you do, and I think it's fair, is you nail men for when they're out of line, but you also nail women for when they're out of line.
When he says nail, he's not sexual.
I think you're being very fair.
No, I am.
I think you're very fair.
I'm very consistent. This is why I'll never. Okay, here's another thing I want to say, Gareth. You know what I've noticed about my comments, because I talk a lot of things political, right? Whatever. So, say something that white people agree with. What's the first thing they say if you're a black man? What's the first thing they say?
Just ask again.
So if I say anything that is like out there, that is like white people agree with.
Oh, just any black guy says anything like anti-ANC.
Yeah. What's the first thing they say? He must be president. Siv Ngesi should be president.
Away,
Sir Khaleesi. He should be president. I say one thing against DA. Siv, you just like the rest of them. Vote your ANC.
Oh my God! Yeah, they get very excited.
It's like it's like the same white people who will be like, "You're so good looking for a black guy."
Oh, really? Is that what they say to you?
So good looking for a black guy.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not patronizing at all.
At all.
By the way, people are asking, where is Leanne this morning? Holy shit! On Saturday night, I got a message from Leanne. She's like, "Let me read it to you, because this is actually, I mean, it's hilarious, but it's also terrible." So she's injured. Leanne says, "I'm not going to make Monday's show. I crushed my fingers in a door hinge yesterday and just came back from the hospital now. They're worried about blood perfusion and want me back there on Monday at 8 a.m. That's like, no, poor Leanne. She's going in now. Sorry, I've let them know. So I said, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. She says, what a numbnuts. So I said, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm fine. I'm just annoyed because I can't wipe my asshole. So she still has a sense of humor.
Aren't you ambidextrous?
But Leanne, get better soon. Obviously, that's horrible. And that's why she's not in today. And thank God the great Siv Ngesi could come and spend time with us.
To all men out there.
Go on.
Wet wipes.
Is that your thing now?
I have been wet wiping my ass.
This is so great that you're sharing this as we're about to close off the show. Go on.
I wet wipe because what's happening, because I've been playing paddle, right?
Oh,
and paddle, a lot of stretching.
Oh, man.
And the underwear goes deep in there.
Oh,
so sometimes you smell, you're like, what's that smell? It's going deep in there. So I have started to use wet wipes.
Oh, no, man.
And wet wipes have changed everything.
Thank you very much, Siv. Leave on a power note. It's beautiful to have you here, dude.
There's sometimes when people call me a power bottom.
And I just want to say, anybody who has any shit with Siv Ngesi has shit with me, because the man keeps saying, you got to go and vote. You got to go and vote. Then he realizes he's going to look like a hypocrite if he can't vote because he's going to be in America next week. What does he do? He actually drives into Lesotho and votes as a person in a foreign country so that he can live up to his reputation of not being a hypocrite. I love it. Dude, have an awesome trip to America. Get your high heels and your condoms and your what?
Gareth Cliff.
What's the other thing?
High heels, boxing boots.
Oh, yeah.
Gareth Cliff, I just want to say, most people who do not like you do not know you. And most people who do not like me do not know me. And anyone who has a problem with me, who can't send me a WhatsApp to tell me they dislike me, shouldn't think they're allowed to dislike me because they don't have my fucking number. If you don't have my number and you don't like me, fuck you. You don't know me, bitch. And if you don't have my number and you don't like me, it means you shouldn't give a fuck about me, bitch.
All right, everybody. Have an awesome Monday. Take some of that Siv Ngesi energy with you. Cheers, everybody. See you Wednesday. Don't forget, Wednesday morning.